everyone, my name's Jonathan and welcome back to Thrill Stuff. Today I wanted to go over my top 15 roller coasters before I really got into the 2022 season too far. I know I've already gone in, I've made some visits to parks, and my rankings have changed a bit since the beginning of the year. However, before things get really crazy and I get a whole bunch of new credits, I wanted to put my top 15 out there, and then I'll look at it again at the end of the year. So without further ado, here are my top 15 roller coasters that I have ridden. At number 15 is Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Medusa is a B&M floorless. It is a 150-foot tall floorless roller coaster. It has a straight drop compared to basically every other floorless roller coaster, almost. So it's got that interesting, it's got floater all the way down. It's honestly not really like a super crazy ride. It's just really fun. Front row, back row, really any row. It's just a fun ride to sit down, sit down on it, enjoy it for a bit. It's just fun. And it does have some intense moments, and it's got some hang time, it's got some air, as I said, floater all the way down the drop. So it's just what it is. It's a fun ride, and it's my second favorite at the park. At number 14 is Full Throttle at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Now, I did only get one ride on this roller coaster, but Full Throttle fully lived up to the hype. In my opinion, it has a strong launch, great, actually fantastic, phenomenal hang time on that loop. It's got some nice forceful elements, and it's got hang time on that dive loop sort of thing going into that second, coming out of the second launch when you go backwards, and then of course, the ejector over the top of that loop, insane. Even though you hit the brakes, I still think the ejector is amazing on that. Full Throttle fully lived up to the hype and the what I expected it to be, so it deserves that spot. At number 13 is Silver Bullet at Knott's Berry Farm, a bit of a different style of invert, and one of 3 B&M inverts I've ridden, all of which are actually on this list. Silver Bullet, as I said, it's different, it's a lot more graceful, but it still has its forceful elements. Of course, the corkscrews don't really whip you around like they do on most other B&M inverts, but it's smooth, it's quiet, which is odd but interesting, and it still has the forceful elements with that helix over the water. It is a really fun ride. It's got a great setting just flying over the pathways, which I really like, and of course flying also over the water in the middle of its layout area. It's just a fun ride. Once again, nothing too crazy, but really enjoyable, and I do like Silver Bullet a lot. At number 12 is Aftershock at Silverwood, another inverted coaster, this time by Vekoma. This is a giant inverted boomerang located in the woods of Idaho. This thing is intense, and it's actually really smooth. It's got a bit of headbanging, if you will, around the cobra roll, but I mean, it's a cobra roll. Cobra rolls are not exactly the smoothest elements usually, but it's still a amazing ride. I mean, the positives on that thing are crazy good. I really enjoy riding Aftershock, and I'm so glad that I did get to ride it. It's a crazy fun experience, and it is now the last remaining giant inverted boomerang in North America, so it's got that going for it. Definitely, if you can, get up to Silverwood and ride it, because it's fantastic. At number 11 is Batman the Ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain, another B&M invert. It's an intense, whippy experience. To be fair, I only rode it once, and I did have I was feeling a bit out of it. It was a very hot day. I feel like I didn't have enough water. I was maybe a bit dehydrated a bit, but it was still a fantastic ride. I really loved Batman, and I'm looking forward to riding some of the other Batman clones this year to get an experience from those too. But as I remember it, a very intense ride, a very compact. It hits you with the elements back to back, like repeatedly. It doesn't really have any moments that it lets up. It's a very fun ride. I really enjoyed Batman, and I hope to ride it again this year. And as I said, I also look forward to riding the clones. It is a heavily cloned attraction by Six Flags, but it is, from what I can tell, it is very much worth getting cloned. Now cracking into the top 10, at number 10, of course, we have Cannibal at Lagoon. This is an absolutely unique, one-of-kind, nothing else like it in the world roller coaster, and you just have to experience it to understand why it is so amazing. 215 feet tall, 116-degree drop. It's just absolutely insane that this thing exists. It's just crazy. I absolutely love Cannibal. There's not much I can really say besides you have to go ride this for yourself. The entire experience is just one of a kind. And of course, the Lagoon Roll, absolutely phenomenal for that hang time. It is amazing. And the ending helix is actually pretty intense, and I've grayed out on it before, so there's that as well. Definitely deserves that number 10 spot. At number 9, I have RailBlazer at California's Great America. RailBlazer is... It's RailBlazer. It's an RMC Raptor. It was one of the first RMC Raptors ever built. It is a fantastic ride. It is an intense, unrelenting ride. Element after element just whips you either some heavy positives or it tries to throw you off the train. It is insane. The first drop in the back row is just crazy. It's got that like twisted airtime hill in the middle that's absolutely insane. It's a crazy ride from the moment you leave the lift to the moment you hit the brakes. It's just insane. And if you have not ridden any of the Raptors, it is something you really need to do because they are really, really good rides. At number 8, I have Stunt Pilot at Silverwood. Now, Stunt Pilot is basically a clone of RailBlazer, but it's the newer model of the Raptors that has 10 seats, a little bit different profiling, and to be honest, track and trains are a little bit wider, but it is a little bit more graceful. It doesn't really beat you up as much, if you will. Don't worry, Raptors, they're all smooth. It's very intense usually, and Stunt Pilot pulls back just a little bit, but it makes it much more re-rideable in my opinion. Plus the comfort collars are so much more comfortable on Stunt Pilot than they are on RailBlazer in my opinion. Either way, Stunt Pilot is still a fantastic ride, absolutely amazing. It still hits you with some intensity on those intense crazy ejector positives. It's still fantastic, and I just love Stunt Pilot. Plus the theme and the colors is just amazing in my opinion, so it earns a little bit more of a higher position than RailBlazer for me. At number 7, we have another RMC with Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Now this might seem a little bit low, but I'll explain a bit. I love Twisted Colossus. It's a fantastic ride. I have to start out with that because you might not realize with what the things I'm going to say next that I do love Twisted Colossus. It is an amazing ride. However, a few elements make it go a little bit lower on my list. Biggest one being sideways airtime. It's got a couple moments of sideways, like where it goes sideways and tries to give you airtime, and I'm not really a fan of that. I don't find it to be super comfortable, and that's one reason. The lift in the middle does kind of kill it just a little bit, but it's almost like getting two rides in one, so it's not really that big of a buzzkill or anything. However, it is a bit gimmicky, being a dueling coaster, and it's not even going to duel half the time. Not that I really care. I think it's a fine coaster either way. I don't really care about the dueling, but the fact that they market it as a dueling coaster so much and it half the time doesn't even duel is kind of odd. So that kind of does, but it also plays off that dueling aspect a little bit too much in my opinion, which I understand. So, but it is still a fantastic ride. It's got great moments of ejector airtime. It is a long ride, and I do still enjoy Twisted Colossus a lot, and I hope to ride it several more times, hopefully this season. Next up at number 6 is Tremels at Silverwood in Idaho. Tremels, not Silverwood. Well, Silverwood's a great park. Tremels is a amazing wooden roller coaster. When I first visited the park, I thought Timber Terror was better. Visited in 2021. Tremels absolutely blew me away with the new track they put on it. The sheer insanity of the ride. It just is just crazy. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just an intense wooden coaster unrelenting, back-to-back just moments of like airtime and just throwing you all over the place, but it's still pretty smooth, and it gives you just this crazy out of control feeling. Out of control is the word I'm looking for, and that's what Tremors really gives you. Just when you think it might be slowing down towards the end, after it goes through some of those twister parts, a couple turns, it hits you with some more crazy hills through the tunnels before hitting a turn into the brakes. It's just an insane ride from beginning to end, and it does feature one of my favorite first drops because of the way it just, what it does in the back row. It just bounces like crazy, and it's hilarious, and I love it. So you really got to get out to Silverwood to experience Tremors. It is a fantastic ride. Down to the top 5. At number 5 is Flight Deck at California's Great America. I love Flight Deck. The fact that I have it this far above RailBlazer might trigger some, but I absolutely love Flight Deck. It's whippy. It may be short, but it is an insanely whippy, intense ride. The vertical loop, high positive G's, the helix after the vertical loop, that upward helix, there were some moments on some rides that I got earlier this season that actually I nearly blacked out on. It was that intense. And of course that corkscrew just hits like nothing else. You hit that corkscrew and it's just insane. My first ride, I forgot it was even there, and it came out of nowhere, and I was just left in shock from that. And of course that ending helix over the water is just beautiful and really fun. It's overall a really, really good ride. It's well-rounded. It may be short, but it's fantastic, and I absolutely love it so much. At number 4 is Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. Knott's has a winner with Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is a CCI wooden coaster, retracked by GCI with some slight reprofiling, but it's just amazing. It runs GCI Millennium Flyers, which I really like because Millennium Flyers are probably my favorite wooden coaster trains. It's just so good. Airtime all over the place. Great drop off the mid-course. And it's a long ride. It's just, and the night ride is just something else. Ghost Rider is amazing, and I'm so glad to have experienced it as many times as I got to when I was at Knott's. It's a fantastic ride, and I hope to ride it again this year as well, because I did really, really like Ghost Rider. At number 3 is probably my most controversial opinion, but it is the Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Now, this may be at my home park, and it may be a bit of home park bias, but I think the Joker is the best RMC in California. I absolutely love Joker. The layout is genius. It's just such a good ride in my opinion, and I've never seen it on a bad day, honestly. Maybe if it has a bad day. I've just never been there when it does, but man, it just always runs so good. Great ejector. It's a long enough ride that it's really, doesn't feel like it wasn't worth the wait, but it's also short enough that it's not like so intense that you can't re-ride it. It's very re-rideable in my opinion. I really I can marathon Joker and without issues. So it's just fantastic. I absolutely love Joker, and the fact that it's a little bit different in the world of RMCs, where it starts off with some inversions and then hits you with the ejector airtime moments, and those moments of ejector are really, really good. So don't pass up Joker. And any row, if you ask me, any row is good. I do prefer the back most of the time. There was one element after the stall, there's a upward element, and if you sit in the right hand side on the front, insane ejector going over that, but pretty much everything is better in the back. The drop is fantastic. The curve drop is really crazy, I think. But enough about Joker. I do love it. Moving on to the next one. At number 2, we have the most insane coaster I've ever ridden in my life, X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This coaster has no right to exist. I don't know what Alan Schilke was thinking when he designed this thing. I'm pretty sure he was on some sort of drugs. It is just insane. Maybe I only rode it once, but it's just such an insane ride. And of course, for me, the station, just waiting in the station, is this very intimidating, ominous feeling, and everything leading up to riding X2 was just such an experience. Like, it's surreal thinking that I've actually ridden X2 for some reason, and that coaster is just absolutely insane. It demands your attention as you drive up to Magic Mountain. Like, it just sits there. I know Goliath is taller, Superman is taller, but as you're driving into the parking lot, X2 is just there, just intimidating you, just taunting you, like, you think you can handle this? Think again. It's just an absolutely insane ride, and I love it so much for that. And of course, now we're at number one, and my number one roller coaster that has been there for quite a while is none other than the GCI masterpiece at California's Great America, known as Gold Striker. Gold Striker is just, it's crazy. There's airtime all over the place. It's always running strong, and it's gotten retracked to where it's running pretty fast and very smooth, but it's still super out of control. It's a crazy roller coaster that runs like nothing else I have ever ridden. The only thing I can compare it to is from what I've heard about the Voyage, and the Voyage, of course, is a much longer ride, so I'm very much looking forward to actually riding that here in a couple weeks. It's going to be really fun. And it probably could be my new number one, but we're not going to talk about that. What we're talking about is Gold Striker, because Gold Striker is just beautiful. If you have not ridden Gold Striker, or if you've ridden Gold Striker like a couple years ago, you got to get back there and re-ride it, because with the retracking, this thing is smooth, and it runs so fast and just so out of control. It is the best roller coaster I've ever ridden, and I have now ridden it over 100 times, so there's that as well. That's really all I have to say about Gold Striker. It's just crazy good. So there you have it. That's my top 15 roller coasters heading into the 2022 season. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it fun to watch. Hopefully. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video I upload.